What is up, ladies and gents? Are you sick of me yet? Did you not see me on here maybe about an hour and a half ago and you're wondering, why is Raph still on this? Guys, it's a marathon day. We're doing both an episode of The Bullpen and Running the Gauntlet. Very excited about that, and I'm very excited that you guys are joining us. We do have an excellent guest. We will get to him in a second, but before we get to him, let's just point this out here right now. A few quick reminders. What do I have to remind you guys about? You were just here. You know exactly what they are. It's this shirt. You like it? Go to rafasparza.com/merch. Do you like my show? Support me over at patreon.com/grappling hour. If you go there for $5 a month, you can check out my interviews 30 days before anybody else. And for a few extra dollars, you could see extra bonus content like Roast Raph, where people roast my competition footage. You can see technique breakdowns, so tape studies with the athletes themselves, including Cody Steele and Anthony Orozco that just went up on Patreon this week for our premium users, and much, much more, including a new segment that we're calling Road to ADCC that I am so excited for you guys to check out. We're about to record that later this week, but not today. Not today. Two's enough. The fact that you guys see me twice in one day, I wouldn't say it's a blessing. I think it's more of a, I'm sorry. It's just the way the scheduling works out. And I'm very happy to see you nonetheless. And yes, we do have more interviews coming. You can also support us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and at Discord, all at Grappling Hour. And be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you don't know what you want to like, comment, or subscribe about, we will give you a prompt by the end of this show. All right. Our guest here today, he does excellent memes. And as a quasi-retired meme maker, I have to tell you, I like to keep my eyes and ears to the ground. I like to see the people who are making the funny. And I'm a little picky, because I see some of you guys like these memes that aren't even memes. They're just sometimes statements. And people go like, yeah. And I go, that's just dumb. But not these guys. Not these guys. The people who I like, I think they make funny shit. And when they make me laugh, I always try to put it up for you guys and show you some of the best meme makers out there. So our guest today is definitely somebody who I consider as, if he puts up a meme, I'll definitely be one of the first people to see it. And I have to tell you this, he's a nerd in the sense that I know what I'm supposed to bill him as, but I am going to say it in the most, I don't want to call it Anglo, but like these kids with their anime, they refer to things in ways that are not pronounced properly. So whenever I saw this, I was like, what the fuck is a Jovkage? And then all of a sudden people are like, no, it's not what it is. It's actually Jovkage. And I go, what is that? And they're like, no, it's actually not cage in it. It's Jovkage. And I go, what is that? And they go, no, you're still saying it wrong. And I go, I'm going to say it wrong every single time. So I'm going to ask our guest, what the shit is your nerd thing? And how do you say the name?
So the nerd thing is it's anime, it's from Naruto, and it's a blend with my last name and then the title of the village like head. So the village head is Hokage, and so I pronounce it Hovkage.
See, when you first emerged on the scene, I thought that you were doing some kind of like Jay-Z hybrid, and I was like, oh, he's like Hove. Okay, cool. And then all of a sudden I saw other people start to have that same name. Like more people appeared after you. So that even like our good friend Jay Pages was going by that. And I go, what is Jay Page doing? Like, Jay, you're old like me. You aren't supposed to know any of this stuff. So you don't get to change your name. You're Jay Pages.
Well, see, and then also you mentioned Jay-Z. So back in the MySpace days,
Oh, wow.
that was actually, I think my name actually said they call me Hove, and it was me holding up, the dynasty sign.
See,
So it
makes
also plays
sense
on
to
that.
that makes sense to me. But when they're bringing all this anime shit, I go, guys, I don't know what's happening. You're making me get accelerated old. You're making me feel like Matt Damon at the end of Saving Private Ryan. I have aged 100 years. I don't know what to do. So anyway, great to meet you, sir. It's been a pleasure to watch your memes. You do a very good job. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where do you train and where are you based out of, sir?
I train at Aries BJJ Stockton, Buffalo Black Brotherhood in Stockton, California. I'm a purple belt under Kalani Foster, which we're under Simon Chantre and Keishinho, etc. And
Very
that's
nice.
pretty
Very
much it. I
nice. And
mean.
Well, dude, I see you competing all the time too. And I don't know if you've gotten the meme or handbook, but we don't do that. So what are you doing out there? Because listen, dude, we do our jokes from the sidelines, we throw them out, and then we just get out. So what am I seeing you going out there beasting competitions like that, sir?
I just got to get my feet wet every now and then. I prefer not to. I get the performance anxiety just like everybody else. So the goal is just, like once a year, get out there, do my thing, hopefully win, and then not embarrass myself
I
or
mean,
my team.
that is mostly I think the goal for all of us. Half the time when I get out there, I'm like, listen, I don't have to win, but if I embarrass us, this is no bueno for
Yeah,
the team. I'm like, I'll be there like, "Raph, who are you repping today?" And I was like, nothing. Don't nope. Never was on the grappling
yeah.
hour. Never don't know what that show is.
I don't want to go out there and be that guy that gets subbed in 15 seconds after, right outside of a guard pull or something.
I mean, absolutely. How did you get started memeing? Like, at what part did you start doing it? Because I know it's more recent than not, but when you first emerged to me, I just remembered even your earliest memes. I go, oh, those are pretty good. And it caught my eye very quickly. And then I think you were starting to build steam. So where did that all come from for you?
Well, I've been buddies with Tony for a while, Happy Rolling, and we were running like an anime page together, which no longer exists. But I had this account as a my kind of like a toy page, and one of my coach's son, Alika Foster, found it and said, "Hey, I found your page." And as soon as he found that, I kind of just archived everything and then started over. And I was like, you know what? I make memes on my personal account, post them here and there. I guess I'll just do this as a like full time for this account, and that's where it just kind of blew up. And I would say my style is very similar to Tony's in a bit. So he's kind of also the inspiration. Not, oh man, that's gonna give him a big head. But yeah,
No, why would you say that? Oh my god, no, this is bad. I mean, it's recorded. I have it here. I might send it to him. I would never do that, but I might. I'm just like, why would you say it like that? You could say like, oh, you know what? We started together running a nerd page, and then I realized let's archive it. And when you did that, by the way, that's a very smart thing to do because I will say this as somebody who's had, verbal tap forever, one of the more difficult things to do was start over for grappling hour. And it's a pain in the ass to have to start over. The fact that you just archive somebody, you're like, hey, you dummies, you're here now. Like, womp womp. Now you got to follow me doing this shit too. Such a smart move.
well, I mean, it did like I didn't have a ton of followers, but it certainly dropped a few hundred, and then it gradually started shooting back up without the whole sponsoring pages that you see a lot of accounts do or following a million people to get those follow backs because that's not what we're about. If we're not growing this thing naturally, it's well, why do it?
Well, you say that, but there are a lot of bots out there who would say, hey, you're going to put me out of a job. So how dare you, sir? May I ask this? What has been one of the biggest memes that you've had? Like, what has performed the best for you? And then, kind of, how did you create that one?
Well, I would say the one that's done the best. I pinned it on my page. It's of a just a mutual contact through Instagram who happened to be a follower, and I followed back, and she had posted this picture where she's like all up in your face on the side of the mats just smiling, and I just put something like that looks like that person who you're dead tired and they're just all up in your face asking you if you want to roll, and of course you're going to say yes. And it's gotten like tens of thousands of likes and shares, and it's been viewed a few million times. Like the dude that plays Adam Smasher in what was that Black Adam movie? He liked it. I'm like, what the hell does he know about jujitsu? But apparently, he liked the damn thing. And then yeah, so that would be like the largest one. And then for like a real, it would be the one about Sean Strickland. I'm a piece of shit, but now I'm a piece of shit with money. That one, me to my supervisor on payday kind of thing. So those would be the two big ones.
Those are, I mean, listen, dude, those are very solid ones. And I always laugh because I don't know if you have experienced, I'm sure you have, but do you ever get to the point where you go, oh, you guys like that one? Well, wait,
Yeah,
like,
all the
don't
time.
look at that one. Look at this. This is the good one. And they're like, nah, dude, we like this one. I go, I didn't spend any time on this one. Why do you like this one?
Yeah, like the one that I did with J. Cole, that's the one I really wanted to blow up. I
Mm.
freaking love that one. Like to me right now, to this day, I mean it's only what like a week or two old, but it's like my favorite meme and I keep going back to it and looking at it. Just because it's just funny to me. If I send this to you, just know I'm not coming or whatever. So to me that's a great or I'm not doing the warm ups, whatever I said. To me it's just my favorite one.
I listen, I put that one up immediately after you put it up because first of all, I was so entertained by the feud between these guys. And then second, I just thought like that's the perfect encapsulation of it. Cause I saw a lot of people, I call them like throwing up air balls, but they don't know they're air balls. They're just kind of like, I got to feed the algorithm. So it's like J. Cole doing yoga or he's eating birds or whatever. I don't know what he's doing. So you put all that shit out in there and go, nah. I saw yours. I go, oh, that one's good. And you know what's great is when people send it back to me and they go, oh, I like this one. I go, it's not mine. It's that guy's. And he goes, oh, I really like it. I was like, well, tell him. Don't tell me. I don't want to send it to him. You know how weird it is to start being like, by the way, my friends are sending me this. So I was just like, hey, man, good job. I'm glad that it is doing well. But yeah, I think you're right. I think you could have gotten a little bit more. I feel like people should have loved that one a little bit more as well. Well, dude, let's look at this. You see 6 topics here. And you know one of them, you pitched one of them to me. So I guess the question I have for you is, do any of these topics make you nervous?
Um I I don't even know what the pyramid one would be about, to be honest. To
Okay.
me, I'm thinking like it's a pyramid scheme. And if
You
you're
know,
telling, if you're trying to tell me to pitch a pyramid scheme, I'm gonna do so fucking terrible because, yeah,
I mean, I'll be honest, now it's making me really rethink on how I did that topic. I might want to switch it out because the other one I thought
don't
was
do
pretty
that.
okay. Don't do that. Okay, fair enough. All right, why don't we do this? Tell me where you'd like to start. You could go ahead and pick where we're heading off first, sir.
Let's go with joint. That could be
Joint,
anything.
it is. All right, so your prompt for joint is as follows. You and Tony from Happy Rolling often create photos that put one another at a famous burger chain. Tell me why In-N-Out is the premier burger joint in the world, or lie to the camera as to why it is not.
Dude, it's in and out for one. I mean, everybody's, you see it post from places that are outside of California, Houston, Arizona, the places that don't have an in and out. The reason it's great is because everybody's coming to California just to try in and out. It might be fast food, but it's fresh. Everything's fresh. Even the potatoes are fresh. They freaking smash it in that little fry smasher in front of you. You're sitting there. It takes forever to get your meal because it's fresh. It's delicious. You can customize it the way you want. I mean, why do you want something from like a Fuddruckers or something that comes out all greasy? Just go to In and Out, get it fresh and delicious. And Fuddruckers is closing.
I like the extra slam at the end, which is, I mean, also they're dead, but who wants to go there? Oh, I guess nobody. That's why.
Hey, I
So,
loved it back 10
oh,
years ago.
here's what I want to point this out is that I don't know if you get what I get, and I'll get into my version of this. I'll do my response here in a second. But I have so many people who just hate In and Out because I guess they hate us on the West Coast, or they like,
Yeah.
they go to a burger joint. You know what? I'm not even going to tell you anymore. I'm just going to respond. I think that's the way I have to do because I now have to go directly to doing my version of this because I'm getting worked up. And when I get worked up, that means I just got to go and start doing my version of this. So now what's going to happen is I'm going to go ahead and put time on the clock. I got 50 seconds left to go. Here it is. Listen, I get that some of you guys do not like In and Out. Fine. That is your prerogative. You can be in your wrongness. I think what I dislike the most about people who don't like In and Out is the fact that they have to send you texts or memes telling you how much they hate it. That shows how sick in the head they are. When you're just looking at them, you're like, I'm just really happy. I am enjoying this burger. And they're like, I hope you know that's a terrible burger. And I go, clearly it's not because I'm eating it. Yeah, well, you know what? My grandma makes a better burger than that. I was like, first of all, Bet she doesn't. Second of all, bet your grandma has dementia and doesn't remember what a burger is. Third, don't get in my face when I like something just to tell me that you hate it. There's no point in that. And second of all, I judge you so hard for not liking the In-N-Out burger for as good and as pure as it is. And as anybody who has ever competed in a sport and waited for that celebratory burger at the end of competing, oh, nothing is better than that. Conversely, also not a bad snack when you've lost, because I've definitely lost some shit and went to In-N-Out as like my like consolation prize. Either way, win, lose, we In-N-Out. So there we go. All right, sir, I have to ask this. Do you get people like I do who will let you know how much they don't like In-N-Out?
Not as bad as you probably. I get a lot of people that telling me, "Why are you eating it so early in the morning?" Because I'm going there right at opening at 10 in the morning, and you see like almost any time I post it, it's two 3x3s. So it's a lot of it's pretty heavy first thing in the I guess first thing in the morning for people, but to me, I've already been up 6 hours, so it's not so bad.
So let me ask this. What age range are you in? Because I'll tell you my age. My age is 41 right now. And a 3x3 is just short of a heart attack for me. So like I it's not that I don't do it, it's that I got to pick and choose my spots. So does this potentially affect your health at getting like one of those 3x3s, and how are you able to ingest that still?
Well, I don't do fries or a shake. I mean, I do Diet Coke. I try to justify that as 0 calories, so it's fine. But dude, I'm older than you.
Away,
So I'm,
you do
I'm
not look
43.
older than me. This is insane.
That's the whole Asian don't raisin thing. But
No, dude,
yeah, I'm
I had
43
just
and I
assumed
turned
that you
44
were
this year
you're turning 44.
in October.
What? This is a
Yeah, man, I'm
lie.
trying to get myself into Masters 4 as quick as possible. You know?
And listen, you know what my favorite thing is like I think I competed on one of these organizations, and I was like, don't I go up in age group now once I hit like 41? They're like, no. And I go, what do you mean no? And they go, nah, you're still the same age group. And I was like, I think on your website it says a different thing. And they go, oh yeah, we haven't fixed that. No. And
Yeah,
now I've got
especially
to. I was just like, wait, dude, I don't mind competing, but I don't want to compete against these kids. Like, I don't have their energy anymore. It just doesn't work like that. But yeah, it was
yeah,
not the
Megaton
funnest.
Diaz, we're not.
I mean, let's put it this way. At a recent Naga, I had put that I was like, all right, I'll do the 40 plus. And I saw there was one dude in 30 plus, and I was like, you know what? I'll do a 30 plus too. I want a couple matches. We'll do that. That dude bailed. Next thing you know, I'm in with the adult groups, and I went to the ringleader or the ring coordinator, and I was like, hey man, just so you know, I'm not doing this match. Like, I'm just not. And I swear to God, the dude hit me with this. He goes, really? I was like, yeah, man, not. Really? Yeah,
Yeah,
dude, I'm not. He hit me with a third. You sure? And I was like, fuck it, we ball. Let's go. And
yeah.
the
At
guy
that
who I
point,
was,
I'm like, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, it's okay. It's the guy who they matched me up with was a MMA fighter who's pretty good.
Uh,
And this kid's all of 24. He recently just fought in LFA and won. And I was just like, dude, I have nothing for this guy. Like, what am I supposed to do with him? You know what I mean? Like, and then the worst part is he proceeded to watch me get mauled. And afterwards, he came up to me and he was like, hey, man, I do respect you for doing that. I was like, that's cool. I have to go. And he's like, yeah. I go up to one of my friends. I go to dap him up. And he's like, hey, man, that was rough. Huh? I was like, yeah, it was not my best work. And he goes, yeah, how do you feel? And he goes, he said something and I interpreted as this, and maybe you'll hear how the difference happens. But I was like, he goes, yeah, so in 9/11, I was like, what? And in my head, it sounded like he said, man, that was your 9/11, or was that your 9/11? But what he was asking was, he was like, oh, are you on Mat 11 now? And the fact that my brain took it as, was that your 9/11? I was like, yeah, sure it was. It was never forget. Yeah, let's go. But yeah, we went over, and he told me that later. I was like, hey man, did you make a 9/11 joke about how bad I performed? And he goes, no, I was asking what mat you were on. I was like, oh, well, at least I roasted myself well, so that's good. All right, carrying on.
So you're saying you got massacred?
Mean, let's put it this way. Homeboy was putting up points, and then after he was putting up points, was like not content on taking mount because he wanted to get some flying shit. So even when I was in pulled guard, all he's doing is spamming fly attacks at me. And I was like, I think at one point his leg helicoptered and hit my face, and I was just like, oh God. As that happened, I was like, he's passing guard. I was like, all right, well, at least if he passes guard, I can start defending this. And he like put me on belly for points and just goes, nah, gets back up and like wants to go up there. And I'm like, bro, you already passed guard. Like, why are we doing this again? And then I realized I was like, oh, he wants like a clippable submission. Noted.
See, it wouldn't happen if you had the jacket on. Yeah,
I
all
mean,
that
yeah,
nosy stuff.
absolutely. I would have beat that guy with kimono. What are you talking about? So anyway, so that's kind of how the show works. What topic would you like to go to next, sir?
Let's see why you chose Apple.
Apple it is. Okay. I'm intrigued to see how you take this one. All right. For Apple, sir, Apple released their list of 100 greatest albums of all time. Give me 3 of the worst albums you have ever heard in your life.
Wow, 3 of the worst albums I've ever heard in my life. And this is, back when you used to go to the record store and just buy albums. And for the life of me, I can't think of albums right now that were so terrible. Oh, you're gonna kill me with this one. Yeah, I'm really drawing a blank here. I try to be very objective with music and try to at least find one song. And if it's one song, it wasn't a waste of my 15.99 or whatever it was. But let's see. Wow, the worst album I've ever probably heard was anything currently Taylor Swift because I just can't stand listening to any of that music right now. And Fionn Davies, if she hears this, is going to kill me. I
So,
will admit to listening to her old country music.
okay, understood. I will tell you this. I think that Fiona has to understand that if Taylor works for her, that's perfectly fine. And that there's like a subset of women who go like, "Oh, you're sexist if you don't like Taylor Swift." And I go, "No, no, no. I just don't like her music. I don't even mind that she's successful. Like, fine. It tells me that she's found an insane rabid base that'll buy whatever bullshit she pulls out. That's a great businesswoman. I'm just not interested in listening to it. Like, there's nothing that she's going to talk about that I go, oh, that sounds fun. Let's talk about that. I'm like, y'all went crazy over a scarf that may or may not have belonged to Jake Gyllenhaal. I have to opt out. And I have said very famously that she has one out or like one track, which is, I think, Style, which sounded like Stevie Nicks' Stand Back, which made me go, oh, that's kind of cool. I like that one. And then everything else is like, no, this sounds like some cheerleader got drunk and is screaming, and I can't. No, no, thank you.
Unfortunately, that's what music has evolved to for most of this generation.
I mean, listen, they can have it. It's fine. It's just don't try and tell me it's good. And the fact that you guys all bought tickets to it, I worry about some of them. And I knew it was bad when my wife came back from, I think her and her friends went to go see the movie. And she's like, you got to see the movie. And I was like, I do not. I don't have an interest. And I wish her well, but not interested. But yes. So did you see the top 100? Did you agree with their rankings? Did you take note of any of the ones that made the top of the list?
I saw just like, like what is it, like Complex or something will post like some of the ones that did hit. Like I saw, what was it, Blueprint 2.0 or something was on there. And then I saw, like, I forgot what were some of the omissions. I saw Graduation was on there. Um, and that's not even like my favorite Kanye West album. If anything, it would have been Late Registration or the College Dropout. But I don't know how that list was compiled. I'm not a big fan of half the music that was on there, and I really haven't taken the time to go through the rest of them to see how much I actually agree with it.
I'll tell you this much. When I see those things come up, I usually try to hold back my anger but I try to think of it like this. I'm like, well, who did it? When they're like, yeah, it's Apple staff and some prominent producers, and I was like, show me who they are. Because I'll tell you this much right now, it made me all the happier, and I'll do my response here in a second, but it made me all the happier that I was like, no, that's the number one. Like right there. Listen, you're never going to beat that. Nobody's ever going to beat goddamn Thriller. You can come to me with whatever you got, but that's the number one pop album of all time for a reason. Here's why. Number one, it went multi-genre. Number two, it sold the most. Number three, like the musicianship behind it between Quincy and Mike and all the people who put together, really, really good. But when everybody's like, oh, I actually Miseducation, I was like, oh, I really do like Lauryn Hill. And it's a testament to how good she is that we've let her get away with a lot of shit for the past 25 years. That's how good that album is. So I don't mind spreading the wealth and giving that one this one, but like, we don't know that's like real number one. So just saying. And if you want to come in like your Rolling Stone, you want to do Sgt. Pepper or any of those like Beatles, that's okay too. That's fine. I get it. But yeah, we are in an era where people are just kind of like, this is a number one. This feels good. It sounds great. And you'll be like, it's not even Jay-Z's best album. Like, what are we doing here? So, all right, let me go through the worst albums that I can think of in my brain. This is going to be off the top of the cuff. So just to let you guys know, there's no mediated moments here. He mentioned Taylor Swift, and I feel like that's taking the bait, and I don't want to do that. I'm going to tell you people who have disappointed me over the years, and I think he'll understand some of these. So, like, I remembered back in the day, there were certain albums that brought me a little bit of disappointment. So when you used to go to a record store, you would listen to 3 tracks at least. If you like 3 tracks, then you would actually buy the album. And so there was a lot of me going and being like, let's do it because this is $15. And when you're a kid, that's what it is. I remember things like David Bowie's Tin Machine confused me and made me sad because I like David Bowie a lot. My sister's really big into him. Naughty by Nature's Poverty's Paradise. They had like one song and I remember being like, oh, I'm so excited. And I go, oh, this is kind of a garbage album. But I think if you're going more modern, I think if you really get into these different eras of different people, Taylor's the easiest, but I feel like there's gotta be somebody in the realm that I'm forgetting right now. It's going to escape me. Let's just say anything by Kiss. There we go. I already made fun of them last episode, so let's go double on that. But yeah, those are the people that I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Hey, and earlier you were talking about Taylor Swift, really just taking on the same of Sarah McLachlan and whoever sang the "I'm a bitch, I'm a," the one with the armpit hair. I can't ever
Meredith
remember her name.
Baxter, I
Yes,
think. Oh no, it was Meredith. Wait, I'm
the
trying to
Bush.
think if that's the mom for Family Ties. But yeah, Meredith, where she was like, yeah, I'm a bitch. And I go, okay, great. But yeah, that whole era when they had women just at the forefront, adult contemporary, sad ballady songs, I thought like, oh shit, it's open. Like, damn, this thing's gonna be unstoppable. Women are adult contemporary is gonna rule the world, and then rap kind of took over. But for a split second, they almost had it, man.
What, what was? Oh man, what was the name and the younger female artist? And like, she was in the music video. She's just like in like a bath of water and like, ah,
Are you talking about
it,
Fiona Apple?
yes,
That was
she was
criminal.
kind of
Okay.
part into that. Kind of part of that. I don't know why her name was slipping my mind, especially when we're literally on Apple. But she was kind of in that generation of the time, but with just a little bit. Her music was different from theirs.
Yeah, I so Fiona is my shit. Like, cause I could understand where she was coming from. I remembered there was a girl in high school that was like a friend of mine who reminded me a lot of Fiona Apple. She had just come back after taking a couple of years off, going somewhere else. Her family dragged her to another school. And I remembered Fiona Apple gave her famous, like, this world is bullshit. Okay, you guys, I want you to know. And I remembered being like, oh shit, that's like my friend. And I went up to her and I was like, hey, she kind of reminds me of you. And she goes, you're so right. She's like, this world is bullshit. She's like, I thought that speech was so great. I was like, it sounds like exactly some shit you would have said. And I remembered being like, all right, let's give her a chance. And I remember being like, oh, Fiona the Apple's got chops on her. She's a really fucking good songwriter, piano player. And then she got together with Dr. Dre and put out this one random set of tracks. And I was like, she's kind of crazy and I'm here. That's great.
Well, now I gotta find that because I don't even recall that part.
Oh, I'll find that for you. I think it's called Get Back or something, like Get It Back or something to that effect. But I remember being like, it almost had like a Tim Burton-y vibe of like Dr. Dre with his production style at that time. So I would recommend that. So yeah, those people, much better than Taylor Swift. Just saying. All right, let's go to our next topic. Where would you like to go, sir?
Let's go. Let's go. Since I was just listening to you and Tim earlier, we'll go with Inside. Which also reminds me of Forgetting Sarah Marshall and Russell Brand singing Inside of You. Yeah.
You know what's so great is somebody put up the meme that was like, this movie is not dated well for any of its stars. Like Russell, Jonah, P. Diddy. You go, yeah, no, that's a rough one. So, all right, let's go to Inside It Is. Sir, your prompt is as follows for Inside. It is. Uh-oh. The piece of paper went away. 1 second. I'm going to reset the clock here in a second because...
Man, I thought you were saving me some time.
No, I'm not doing that. The thing just went away, so it closed. All right, here's what we're doing right now. I'm going to reset the clock as soon as I finish saying this. But it says, it's heavily rumored that due to Warner Brothers fumbling the bag, next season will be the last for Inside the NBA. Name 4 people who you believe could be the hosts of a BJJ version of Inside Grappling.
Well, I'm going to say Raph for one, because, he's such a great host at everything.
Thank you.
Who else would be good? It would be fun because, you can tie everything well together, but then you mix in John Danaher with that, and then you have someone who is hilarious like Craig Jones or Gary Tonin, and then we'll just throw a 4th one that's just doesn't know how to say anything, and you guys got to work to get it out of him.
Okay. I'm with you on that.
Timer threw me off on that one. So, I got you with John, and if not Craig, Gary, and then some random guy that you got to get his personality out. You know what? Let's go Gio.
Oh.
Gio would be fun, especially after the Mikey and Gio.
Oh my God. Yeah, the fact that you brought that up right now, oh my God, that's so true. When they were going at it, I just remember being like, I've never really seen Gio get in like a spat with somebody. So it just seemed really unusual to see him that worked up about it,
Yeah, and I thought it was hilarious because it's just like, dude, I don't know you. It's cool. We can be acquaintances. Why do you want to be my friend so bad?
I'm glad you pointed out those people. Those are good. I'm trying to figure out how a panel would look like because you have 2 wild cards. You have Gio, you have Gary, but then you have Danaher. And so you really have to find a way to make them all engaging in different ways. Like it's 3 different sets of cats that you go, no, here, nope, here, nope, look at me, look at this. No, Danaher, in a minute. Do the point in a minute. You don't get 5 minutes, 1 minute. Say your piece.
And imagine, because, it took a while, way back when we were kids, Ernie wasn't as, fun. And as the years progressed, he just got more and more fun. So it'd be fun to see if you can get that out of Danaher, where he's, so serious, calling everybody by their full names, and all of a sudden he slips and just says their first name. Call something without a Japanese judo name.
You know what it would have to be? I would have to trick Danaher into actually being more of Ernie. Even though I would be the center square, because Ernie gets laughs. I don't know if you've ever seen any of those compilations, but Ernie has gotten laughs off of being like, well, it's not what your mother said. Huh? Okay. And you go, wait, is he doing your mom jokes? Who let this guy start doing this? And you realize there's an endearing aw shucksness to what he does that I kind of go like, yeah. So when they start talking about breaking them up, I'm like, well, you need him because he's the center. And then everybody else
Yeah.
is just don't lose Chuck, don't lose Shaq. Chuck is such a key component for it. So yeah. All right, let me give you what my version I think would be, because I go back and forth on this multiple times, but we'll see where I kind of land on this one. All right. If I was piecing together an inside version of grappling. Now, granted, I kind of do it with Jake and Tim, but if you gave me a lot of money, I don't know if we'd see each other. So I would say this. Okay, yes, definitely me center square, because I don't know anybody else who can manage these egos with the certain type of humor. A lot of people suck up to their heroes. I don't. What I would do is I would be roasting them half the time. Danaher's an interesting choice, but I think I would bring on Craig for the Shaq role because he would just say nonsense that people are really endeared to. I think I would also look to a personality like, Fionn, I think actually has a really good personality. I'd like to see her there. And she would be a good counterbalance to us. So I think her on a panel would be dope. And one last one. Oh, if I have to pick somebody out of the blue, you mentioned Geo. Boogie's not a bad choice, but I don't know that I want to go with him because then I would just do the impression of him to him. But we need our version of like a Chael. You know what? If I get some coaching time, maybe I could pull it out of Marigali. I think I would have to put him through a boot camp to teach him how to actually make a comprehensive sentence. Because if I just take him at his base, most of the time it's got grammatical errors. I don't know what he's saying. I can't tell if he can do it on the spot without being like, I'm awesome. Because I think the real answer is putting Gordon on there is a bad idea. I think Gordon will start talking about every one of these things in relation to one of his accomplishments. So not interested in that. But also, I don't know. Craig and Gordon on the same panel is almost Chuck and Shaq.
You got a point.
I'll think about that one. That might not be a bad idea in the future. If they could coexist, that's not a bad idea. And then you throw on some other third rando in there. Yeah, okay. We'll talk about that. I think we're on to something here. When I get the opportunity to get some money and replace Tim and Jake, I think we've got a real show going here.
If you give me a lot of money, I don't know if they'll ever see me again. I think that was the comment you said.
No, I said if you give me a lot of money, I don't think they'll be on the show anymore. Which, I mean, yeah, okay. Well, what are we going to say? We're going to be like, no, Rev, you better pull us on. I was like, what do you do? You know what I mean? Like, no, I'd get, you know what? They'd be on the floor somewhere. They'd be producing something. I'm sure I would find them a job. I'm very good at that.
Hold the lighting.
I mean, I would be like, all right, Jake, you're the body man. Body man means you do whatever I ask you to do. So coffee. There you go. Go get me that. And Tim,
go run and wait in the drive-thru for In-N-Out.
Hey, yo, for real. Oh my God, that's the sponsorship I got to chase. And then I think Tim actually has the makings of a very good producer in the future. So we'll see. But I do like the fact that if they ever tried to take center square from me, I'd be like, all of you will die. Like, that's the moment I'd get highly competitive. I'd be like, no. You guys aren't coming for my job. Nobody comes for my job. All right, sir, we've done 3. We're halfway through the board. Where would you like to go next?
Let's see what you were really going with Pyramid.
Pyramid it is. Okay. All right, for Pyramid, next week marks the IBJJF Worlds, which many top stars argue is becoming more and more obsolete. Give me one way the IBJJF can reclaim its status.
Besides paying more money to their stars, I liked your point of, trying to bring attention to the new up and coming people, like you said, like the purple belts. Not talking about anybody like old like me, but you see all these young athletes competing, female and male, that are just killer, and I'm like, I'll watch them and I'm like, I don't know if I could roll with this blue belt. I make fun of blue belts a lot in my memes, but that blue belt might be able to whip my ass with their 20-something-year-old age or something like that. But yeah, let's bring attention to the young generation. Like, you got all these green belts that are whooping the ass of purple belts and brown belts and black belts. let's let's bring attention to those guys
That's what's up.
and
Okay.
actually advertise that we're doing worlds bigger than this.
Okay. I'm with you. I have a new point that's a little different than what I did maybe a little while ago. So I'm going to probably just go straight into that. But I think where you're at is on a similar page. So I think we're sharing something that is very solid as a start. Let me bring you into my world right now. I think in order to make IBJJF Worlds more popular, stay with me here. I think we have to trick people. I'm not just talking about the athletes. I'm talking about the audience. I think what you have to do is if you ever go to like a mall and sometimes they want to do a screening for a movie and they go like, hey, what are you up to right now? Hey, how's it going? Yeah. Would you like to come here real quick? We actually will pay you like $50 if you guys just like sit for a little bit. It's not a big deal. And then they like surprise take you into BJJ Worlds. You'd be like, wait, what is this? And you're like, yeah, just sign here. You put them, seatbelt them in. They have to stay there. And I think you do that for the athletes. I think what you do is you sign up the athletes. You say, hey, there's an unnamed competition that you're going to have to compete in. And the athlete's like, yo, I make some money. And they're like, maybe. Anyway, come with me. Oh, guess what? You're competing at Worlds. And I think watch that happen and watch somebody become a BJJ Worlds champion. And then them start saying like, he's way better. It just is. So I think that might be the way that we go about doing it now.
And eliminate point stalling. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. Because I love training the gi. I can't stand watching a match and someone's, oh man, I was the last one to score this tie, so we're at 2 points each, but I scored last, so let me just win this with, I got a minute and 15 seconds left. Let me hold him here and just kind of act like I'm trying to get an Americana. I I hate that. I absolutely hate that. And my knuckles look like the Elder Wand. I love the gi, but I cannot stand watching matches like that. It's like when I was a kid and I didn't know what jiu-jitsu was and I'm watching UFC and I'm like, well, they're just holding each other on the ground and I think he's in between his legs and missionary and I don't know what's going on. And but man, I that's how I feel watching worlds or gi jiu-jitsu now, and it's a competition and they're just stalling for points. My coach tells me all the time, I don't care if you lose as long as you care trying to get a kill.
Mm.
Like, go for the kill. Quit trying to just win solely on points. I fucking hate it. Fucking hate it so much.
Clearly you do. And I see it off of your face. You're like, I hate it. You know what I would say though? The only thing that I will say in the favor of that is I love the performance art of pretending like you're trying to do something. I feel like if anybody's going to make a highlight footage package, you need to do it of that because I feel like that's where I do some of my best work. Like, especially when I'm like, dude, I'm tired. I do not want to do anymore. And I'm always like, what? I feel like I'm doing a magic trick at the end of it. Like if you pulled out a bunny at the end of all that, of like trying to pretend like you're collar choking and you get like this and you're there, and you're like, oh, what is this? Ma'am, is this your card? At the end of it, I'd be like, you know what? You won. No more competition. You did it. You're great, sir. Like, I think that'd be a different story. I think it just has to have an entertaining element. So every time I'm stalling on that world, I try to at least like shoot up that look to the ref, like, see, I am trying. So I do occasionally try to do that. But yeah, I think we've solved this one. All right, sir. 2 topics left. Where do we go next?
Let's go, Shame.
Shame it is. All right, sir. We did a practice round of this one, and you seem very, very secure. The shame prompt is as follows. As a quasi-famous meme maker in the world of jiu-jitsu, tell me one meme that you shelved and were ashamed that you did.
Actually, the only time I actually shelve something is if for some reason Instagram's not giving me any kind of reach, and so like it's only showing like it's been up for 5 hours, but only 200 people have seen it. So I'll shelve those ones and I'll save it for a rainy day. Maybe it'll work the next time around. But I almost felt shame for posting this last P Diddy one just because it's his bullshit apology. Oh, here's one. Here's one. The one where I did of someone holding their hand out like a strangle, and I called it the rape choke because it offended a bunch of people, I guess. But I did not delete it or archive it. It's still there.
That was the reverse of the question, by the way. You're like, actually, I was proud of putting that one up. Now that I think about it.
I
Um,
felt shame for the offensive, but
I,
I'm like,
well,
you didn't report me, so
let me put it to you this way. The shame is not to be like, oh man, the offensive. It's more so like, was there something that you felt like, man, I really wish I had done X or Y or Z? So let me see if I have one, if I remember it correctly off of my prompt here. But my version of shame. Okay, so just so people are aware, a lot of kids may not know this now. For years, we did memes on Verbal Tap. It was a good way to get people to listen to episodes. I really liked doing it, but I found that everybody was doing the same ones over and over again. And I felt like, man, that really gets monotonous. Like it gets boring, and I feel like I wasn't contributing as great as stuff. But what I did notice was if, say, somebody had a take on Shale or somebody had a take on like a big event, sometimes I'd be like, it seems too easy. And then you would see those ones do huge numbers and you'd be like, what was I doing? Why didn't I just put that up? Like those are the only ones that I'd ever be like, oh man. When I would see somebody else get the credit for like this giant meme that I go, I think this is a really lame meme. And then I'd see them get like 10,000 likes and I go, I still feel I'm right, but like, maybe I should have gone with it. So those are the only times that I kind of felt like, and it only happened like a handful of times, but it is annoying because so many people have parallel development. So they'll come up with the same take on the same joke, but I don't want it to be a race to be the same joke, you know?
that's you've almost touched on like a very touchy subject for me. There's a particular style of meme to me that to me I feel it's not a meme. It's they're literally captioning what just happened in the image, and it drives me insane because you'll see thousands upon thousands of likes on this thing, and they literally said when you pass the guard and you're on neon belly. I'm like, that's literally what they did, or when that feeling when you become the world champ and they're holding up the world championship belt. And to me, that drives me absolutely insane because there's no creativity. It's not funny. It's literally not a meme. It's like I'm looking in my grammar school history book and it's captioning the photo amongst the rest of the text that I don't want to read, and I'm trying to get the gist of the lesson based off the picture and the caption. That's what it reminds me of, and I hate
You,
it.
you know what? So I think we know, I think I know what you're speaking of. I think I see a lot of those memes. I think the issue I have with it is it's an unnecessary suck up. Like memes are meant, well, I don't know, what the fuck am I talking about here, but just in my interpretation, I think memes are meant to elicit some kind of laugh or to point out something that maybe people are thinking but they don't know how to elaborate. Those are the best ones to me. And when they hit it, like when you were talking about your J. Cole one, I was like, oh, I didn't have a take on how J. Cole was similar to our world. I saw a lot of people putting up him riding a bike and like saying how smart he was for not doing this feud. So you don't want to follow that pattern. But when you're like, hey, if I send you this, it means I'm not going to jujitsu or I'm skipping warm-ups. And I go, yeah, that's the
That's
right take. Like, yeah, that's the one. Okay, great. We're in agreement. That's cool. That's creative. It has something to it. If you put up
yeah,
somebody
like
and they've
for
just won and you're like that feeling when you won, you're like you're just trying to go in on their celebration and all people want to do is share it because they want to give it like, oh, I'm happy that happened, so yay endorphins. And I think to myself, I'm like, oh, we just serve two different purposes here. Like one is
yeah,
cheerleading and one is trying to make people laugh.
yeah, and for me, like in my interpretation of memeing or what I my style would be is I want to take something that has absolutely nothing to do with jujitsu and make it about jujitsu. And if I'm taking a jujitsu image, I want to take that jujitsu image and make it do something that has absolutely nothing to do with jujitsu. Like you're trying to get a guy off of a single leg, and you're like trying to kick the dog off of you when you're delivering newspapers or something. Like to me, you shouldn't use a jujitsu image to write about jujitsu because kind of like literally there. But if you take something that's from like Doug Funny that he said and you turn it into a jiu-jitsu meme, then yeah, that makes sense. But that's a meme. But you just go out in the world and take a picture of someone holding side control and say when you hold someone in side control, it's not really a meme. It's literally what you're doing.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I've definitely seen a bunch of that pop up, and again, as old man memer, I'm just kind of like, that sounds good. I don't know that I'll share it, but it is
That
definitely
could
something
be
that
me
I've seen
being
occur.
old.
I mean, let's put it
Me
this way:
being old and saying, get off my lawn.
you at least are still current. Like, I think what ended up happening was I just got so bored that as a result of it, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to concentrate more on this because at this point, I don't know what it was. I think there was something that just happened where I just kept seeing somebody doing takes that would get good engagement that I was like, is that really what I have to do? I don't want to do that. Like, that's the part that got me out. But then I'm so happy when I see people who are creative doing it. And like, honestly, Tony's had a really good run. Like, the fact that Tony can still elicit a heart laugh out of me makes me go like, oh, okay, cool. I don't know if you knew this though, but sometimes Tony would do this practice version of putting up his memes where he would put it in his story and I'd be really happy. I'd be like, hey, post this. And he's like, oh, I don't know. I'm just testing it. I was like, fuck your test. I don't want to share it without giving you the credit. So post it. And he's like, well, and I was like, Tony, I can't, if I don't post it now, I'm not going to post it. Just put it up now. I'm going to forget about it. And he goes, I'm just, I'm trying it out. And I was like, fuck your analytics, put it up or I'm not putting it up. And then he sent it to me the next day and he goes, see, I put it up. I was like, I've already forgotten about it. Nope.
And he's very like scientific with that, about doing that. Where me, I'm like, oh, it's between 7 and 8 o'clock. I should probably post something, and he'll test it out. And
Well,
so
what do you
sometimes
need
I'll
to
look at his
test? It's a
story.
fucking meme. You're not getting Bunsen burners and being like, hold on, let's see if this goes in. What will happen here? Like, no, just put it up.
Yeah, so sometimes I'll look at his story, and even if I like it, I'll just really ignore it because I know he's testing it.
But like and at one point he caught how mad it was making me because he goes, look, dude, look how mad you are about it. I was like, I want to give you credit. Why am I being judged? This is legitimately for you, not for me. And I go, and the dumb part is when I tell you I've forgotten about it, that is our modern society. It means my ADHD has kicked in. Nope, to the next thing. And if you try to bring it up the next day, now it's for you. And guess what? I was already there yesterday. Done. No more. When people would be like, how's Tony doing? I was like, don't care. Forgot about him. Who? That guy? Yeah. He had a funny meme 2 days ago. Can't recall what it is. Too bad.
That guy, unhappy nursing BJJ.
Absolutely. Happy nursing, which, by the way, sounds like something a new mother does, by the way. So that's good to know. All right, let's go to our final topic, which is one that you pitched. So you should be good with it. You at least know the realm, but you don't know the question. And here is that prompt. On social media this week, The Rock gave audiences a first glance at his Mark Kerr biopic for A24. Your task right now, tell me the fighter biopic you would like to see A24 produce next, along with the name of the movie and the star.
Wow, you really, really did one here. Let's go. Let's go GSP. We'll call it "You're performing for your country when you make love to a woman," and we'll put Ryan Gosling in it just because he's so current right now, and I just want to see him kind of do that like squinting thing he does with the GSP kind of like because GSP kind of does a squint thing too, so I kind of want to see that. But yeah, what was it when you represent your country while making love to a woman? The GSP story.
Can I say my one big issue with this? My one big issue is that I didn't get the audition I was very much deserving for my GSP. So here we go. Okay, can I do my audition for you as
Yes,
GSP? Okay. What scene am I reenacting here? What did he do?
he just was it? He just fought. mm, Did you see the clip he posted when he came running and jumping onto a bed? Like I think he like front flipped or back flipped
I
onto a
think you're
bed
right. Yeah.
out of nowhere, like a hotel room.
Okay.
Like what was his statement directly after this beautiful performance, just a beautiful gymnastics performance
Okay.
onto a bed? Was he representing a woman or his country
Okay.
for a
Got it.
woman?
Okay. I'll take greatest hits of all that. So GSP is just front flipped, somersaulted onto his bed. Hello. You may be wondering how I got here. My name is GSP. Yes, I did front flip onto this bed for no reason, but maybe it was for all the reason. Right now, I tell you, number one in heart and in mind, GSP wants to tell you to watch my biopic. My biopic is called When You Make Love to a Woman, You Are Representing Your Country. Yes, no? See, yes. And more importantly, we will cover many topic in this biopic. Topic number one, Masera. Topic number two, the brick that I named Masera. And topic number three, when I threw the brick into the water to represent I have gotten over it, and then I kick him in face, and then I get my championship back. So all of this and more, GSP, catch it. When you make love to a woman, you are representing your country. This fall, A24. There we go. Okay.
Oh man, my jawbones kind of or cheekbone hurts.
Well, maybe we should have you wait for who I'm going to pitch here. I don't know how this one will go, but we'll see. Um, okay, now, all right, here we
All
go.
right, I'm good.
Uh, let me put it to you this way. So if you're giving A24, they only do the best. And I'm thinking to myself, who's somebody who's had both controversial moments, popular moments, one of the best sellers of all time? And you'd think to yourself, maybe it's Conor McGregor. Well, he'd be in the movie. But the one I'm going to pitch is actually Nate Diaz. And I feel like if you're really trying to stunt cast here, I may not have the upper body length of a Nate Diaz, but I definitely have the voice. So I think what you do is you do the Irishman special effects to make it so that I can portray Nate Diaz in different eras. And if you wonder, Raph, what relevancy do you have as playing Nate Diaz? I give you the following. So like, why you guys want to be bitches and shit, and like, if we're really getting into this, I think Nate Diaz it's presented by A24, which is better than A23 if we're being honest. And what I'm saying is, you do a story about me and how like great I am, and like how I beat that little like midget Conor McGregor, and like how my brother's awesome, and how I love karate, but I love jujitsu. And then at the end of the movie, the big surprise is fuck you, bitches. I beat up Jorge Masvidal. Scene.
That was fucking perfect.
You know what? The weird part is I had a very different answer until you went the GSP route. And I was like, well, you're getting both the impressions. So there's nothing to do here. It's just, I think those are the two guys that I would like to see get movies. Sir, we have made our way through the topics. What I like to do to end these shows is I like to give you the opportunity to ask me a question. Now, these are usually intended to trip me up because you may notice these questions start one way and then go another. So I want to give you the opportunity, the creative meme master that you are, to throw any question you'd like for me to respond to, sir.
Ah man, now that you're putting me on the spot, it's kind of hard. Um, it's a lot easier when you gave me the topic as opposed to me trying to throw a topic at you.
So think of it like this.
Um,
Just go naturally. It doesn't have to be a perfect question yet, but you can give a direction or an area that you feel
so
like could be controversial or that you would like to get a response out of me from.
okay, let's see. Let's go with the grappling thing. And to me, because it does kind of not grind my gears, but it kind of bothers me. Um, recently, or not recently, but over the last year or so, one championship has been pushing Danielle Kelly a lot. I'm a fan of watching her grapple. She's good, but she's always pushing the underdog mentality, and I want to know your thoughts on her saying she's the underdog, but outside of Jessica Khan, I felt like she's always been force fed people she can beat. So I'm not understanding the whole underdog um, realm.
So I guess the question behind that is she pushing that, or is that the story they're giving her? Because sometimes that can be a producer saying like, hey, we like your spunk, kid. You're the underdog. So I always approach everything from like a cautious background. As somebody who works in TV, you know what a story producer is. They're the people who are behind the scenes who will let reality play out and then kind of shape it. So for her in particular, I will say this. If she's the one selecting herself to be the underdog, I think it might show a slight step out of reality because she's very good at jiu-jitsu. And maybe, just maybe in her interpretation, she's going up against these other monsters who are really good in her brain. And, you know, it could be some kind of weird imposter syndrome. I just like, for her, I've just always thought she's really good. And I've only had one awkward interaction. And we used to do, for Grappling Hour, I want to bring this back at some point, but we did a match of the week. So the idea was there's tons of matches that go on. You pick one that just was really good. And I remember there was a match with her and somebody else, and it caught my attention. I thought, man, that's the best match of the week. And I had the match hand raise. And I think she saw it and she said, oh, of course you would put my opponent getting their hand raised. And I was like, wait, what? I literally just said what a great match that was. It had no bearings on anything that was other than being factual. It had no intention of making you look bad. In fact, I was trying to say how good you looked. And then the comment was, well,
it's a me against the world mentality.
It could be,
Which,
yes.
I mean, that could be a good way to drive yourself to be better, though. So I get it then.
I mean, absolutely. However, the comment was mysteriously taken off like seconds afterwards. So I think she might have really meant it, but that perhaps a friend told her, like, I don't think that's what he meant, or like, don't do that. But I will never forget that. And it just made me feel so much to the point where I was like, hey, I really like you as an athlete. Something's not there. Like, if you felt like that to respond, then perhaps maybe you have an emotional response first. And maybe that's what you're getting on camera or through her creating an underdog element, which is, you know, I posed the imposter syndrome. It's hard for the rest of us to understand what athletes are going through 100% of the time. So it could be a sense of her being like, maybe it is hard for me to be this good. I would just hope she does recognize how good she is, and that what I like to tell people is this: I can only believe you as an underdog for so long, because at a certain point I want to be like, you keep winning. And I don't know if you know this about underdogs, but it's kind of the opposite. Most underdogs are like the people who always lose, and that you may think maybe they don't have a shot to win, but if they continue winning, that's called a winner. And a lot of times she tends to be a winner. So, you know, we can lose that.
And let me segue from, since we're talking about her and it's one championship. What are your thoughts on Mikey and is it Ty or Cade that he has a match with?
I mean, I'm glad that now he's getting. Doesn't he have Gabriel Souza next?
Yeah, I feel like that's almost being overlooked since they're already talking about the Rutola match. And I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, Gabriel's already beaten them once.
Yeah, I mean, I like that match. It's better than some of the tomato cans they've thrown at him. You know, because I guess the hard part for me is when they're like, this dude's a Sambo master. He's invented a form of martial arts nobody's ever heard of. And you go, can we just get a grappler? Like, can you just pay some money to other people who might be good at grappling? And then maybe we find out that, yes, he is one of the best. So them getting him, I'm very happy about. But let me see. Him in the Rotolo match, let's put it this way. You're just trying to match up your biggest stars against each other. And it's not necessarily something that the UFC isn't accused of doing themselves. A lot of times they would position somebody like Conor, who's one of their biggest stars. So if you take it at that level, maybe they think of their showcase people like a Mikey or a Rotolo, and you say like, hey, this is great right here. This is a match. It's really important. But really, guys, come back in like 5 months because that's the real match. That's the one we want you to pay money for. This one, I mean, shit. But like, this one's very important for now, wink. But like, come back in 5 months. Don't worry about this. He's got this. We gave him somebody to beat real quick. So I think about that a lot. But with Mikey, I think he does seem to have something that is making him compelling in that organization. And I think the exposure's clearly been very, very good for him. I don't know, man. I feel like a lot of people would say that he's kind of not even played it safe, but had a very protected version of it, which is very sad because he's so good at jiu-jitsu. I don't think he's somebody you need to protect. So maybe they're just protecting their investment, but I think these next matches are going to be very telling, and they could be very fun. Like him and Gabriel, I think that's going to be a good match. It'll be very interesting to see if he can beat him.
I can't wait for that one.
Yeah.
And I love that it's on Amazon and I don't have to pay Flow money.
You and me both, buddy. You and me both. I mean, let's put it this way. Flow already has my money in.
The Flow settlement check back in for their whole, was it because they were overcharging people for their subscriptions or whatever. So they sent me the $50 or whatever, and I got that on Monday.
Oh shit! Look at you, man. I didn't even know that
they
had done
man. Yeah, me neither. I was like, oh shit, Flow Sports, what are they sending me? And the checks for like $51.64.
I like the idea that every one of us has like a negative reaction of like, what do you want? I don't owe you anything. What? Oh, well, don't mind if I do, Flow Grappling. Thank you. I just think of it like this. Flow is somebody who has my money until October. And then it's a different conversation. I have purposely always put my renewal right after 80cc times because I just go, we'll reevaluate this. Because for the rest of the year, I'm not really watching it a ton. And even like who's number one and stuff like that, it depends on the event. They've gotten, I mean, there's still a premier submission grappling matchup series. It's just for compelling TV. And I feel like it's not. So I do struggle with that.
Yeah, to me, it's gotten to the point where I'm almost okay spending, what is it, like the $25 when I want to watch something for the month, as opposed to paying the 100 and something dollars for the year. Because why? I don't watch it enough I don't watch it enough to pay for the whole year. So if I'm spending like $75 for the 3 times I want to watch it, as opposed to the $112 or $115 for the entire year, then so be it. But who cares if I'm only getting 75 or not even 25% of the year?
Yeah. So I think what they're trying to do now, I actually think their monthly is almost to 40 now. And I feel like their yearly is 150. So I think what they're trying to say is if you buy 4 months worth, you're already here. And they're just short of it because whoever's coming up with this calculation, they're close. Because really, you just need East Coast, West Coast trials, 80cc. And if you have that package, that probably comes out to about 120. And if they're charging you about 150, 160, you're just 1 month shy. So they're kind of like, well, you're already here. Look at all this stuff.
Just spend the extra $30, $40.
Just do it. It's fine. It's like 20 cappuccinos or something. Like, just do this. This is great. We love it. We filmed the Rotolos. You like that, right? They love surfing, and we filmed it. Give us your money, please. I don't know, man. I just always, I give them the best ideas I can. And I know we are not the best of friends with each other, but listen, dude, I think the thing I always want to say is we are rooting for them because we want it to be good. Nobody here in existence wants a bad product, but what they don't like in our sport is any form of feedback. It makes me wonder that part of the reason why we're not a bigger sport is because we have too many paper thin egos, where if people responded in the NFL like they did in jiu-jitsu, it would be the pettiest shit in the world. But instead, those bigger organizations are like, okay, cool, we'll try and fix it. We're going to get more talented people as we go. But here's what it looks like now. And then they do fix it. In jiu-jitsu, it's like, you guys, you don't even know. You should be thankful. Okay. You should be thankful that we did this for you. And it's like, we're paying for it. No, but if I wasn't here, it wouldn't happen. And I spent a lot of money on this. Or just make it better.
And while you're at it, let me shrink this image of what you're paying to watch so you can see this gigantic ad.
What are you talking about, man? You don't learn a lot from the Little Caesars ads that you're getting spoon-fed, or Heineken, or I don't even know what it is at this point. Every so often when they do those, I just go like, wait, where'd it go? Oh, fuck. How did he do that?
I wouldn't mind if they did it to where that was the picture-in-picture, but when they make what you're trying to watch the picture-in-picture, that's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, listen, dude. It's what happens when you don't have TV people. However, I've heard they made a couple hires from people who have worked at ESPN, and I think that's good. That's like a step in the right direction. So I am eternally hopeful, but also consistently let down. So I have to balance those two things, and it is difficult. Well, let's do this, sir. I'm going to put the camera on you. Plug your shit. Tell the people where they can find you. Tell people where they can enjoy your work, because you do a great amount of it, and we always love it when you put it out there. So floor is all yours, sir.
Well, my name is David. My Instagram is at Jovkage.Bjj. J is in Jack, O, V is in Victor, K, A, G is in girl. I don't even know how to the phonetics anymore. E dot boy, Jack, or Joe. Other than that, my sponsor is Your Jiu-Jitsu Sucks brand. And our good friend Jay, you would know all about that. Other than that, shoot, I don't have much to promote other than, follow me and watch me make ridiculous memes, and every now and then appear in my own memes and reels of getting my ass beat by black belts.
You do pretty
That's my
well. Like the way I see some of those things, those videos, I'm like, you do just fine. I'm not worried about you. What I
I'm
would
gonna
say
start
is,
sending you. I'm gonna start sending you the reels that my professor posts, because
oh no,
I'm his main training partner, and it's usually just me getting highlight reeled. I don't know if you know the it's a smaller promotion that's slowly growing bigger. Arte Suave Elite, mostly in
yes,
California.
yes.
Um, he loves seeing those posts because we're good buddies. His name's Alfredo, and he'll just comment every time. There goes David, the human highlight reel, and it's because I'm getting highlighted by either my professor or his sons, and it's a constant thing. And I mean, I'm a glutton for punishment. I'm the most consistent student, so of course it's
I
gonna
mean, it
happen.
just means you're getting better. That's the weird part of all this. You're like, oh, I'm getting a highlight reel here. And I was like, that means you're highlight reeling somebody else. I know how this all works.
What is it? Shit rolls down the hill.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. It's exactly what I tell my students. I'm like, listen, I'm doing this now because, listen, you're going to get better. And when you do, it's not going to be fun for me. But yes, and as you mentioned, yay, J Pages, boo, Bryce. Yay, Jay, boo, Bryce. Always remember boo. Because I noticed this.
Right.
You sent the note to Bryce, and he's like, why is Raph always booing you? And Bryce sent it to me laughing so hard. And I was like, well, I suppose if people don't really know our connection, it would seem odd. And he's like, well, I find it funny. I was like, I know you do, and you don't get a choice because I'm going to do it whether you think it's funny or not. It's whether I think it's funny, and I think it's funny all the time. And I go, and I'm doing it to you, to Jay, to literally everybody that I know. And I go, and there's a few
I think
select
it's
people. I go,
hilarious.
the weird part is when it's been a fighter that I've professionally said, let's go the other guy on their posts. And everybody comes for me in the comments. And then the fighter has to be like, he's a friend. He's just being an asshole. And I go, precisely. Thank you.
Yeah,
So,
I like that I had to get both your explanation and his.
I mean, my thing is I was like, at first, my first thought was, I don't give a shit.
Keep fucking with David.
But then the other part is when you had to be like, so Raph, tell me why is it that you boo Bryce? What is it about Bryce that makes you boo? And I was like, because he sucks, dude. And he's trained with me for a long time. And now he doesn't train with me. So when he doesn't train with me, I'm going to boo him even worse. But at least when I trained with him here and we booed each other, it was me being like, hey, you suck. And the weird part is, when you talk about, we talked about this a little bit earlier, what's some of the cringiest things? And I talked about tattoos. This motherfucker got like a little kid dog. I got that dog in me. And I saw it, I think, through you first. And that was where I
Yeah.
was like, boo this. And I go, wait, he really did do it. And then I have to send him the message. It's like, did you put a cartoon looking dog on your body as a tattoo? And he's like, I did. And I go,
Does that count as a cringe jujitsu tattoo?
well, kind of. But I mean, the weird part is it fits him. And I feel like when you're a dad, you can get away with certain things a little bit easier. So, like, that's full on dad humor. And what I do fear is in the future, when his kids are old enough, they're going to be like, Dad, what the fuck is that? So, like, when in 10, 15 years, they're going to be like, Dad, okay, that one tattoo's there. That's cool. Oh, that's supposed to be, oh, that's awesome. That's really nice. Good tribute to me. What is this, Dad? Why did you do this? And I feel like those are the
Dad, I
moments
was
that you
two.
go. But like when you see that happening, I go, I don't know how I would react. My dad famously had zero tattoos, like I do, no tattoos at all. So I think to myself, I'm not the demo here. But when I saw him get that one, I go, I would be so mad if this didn't fit you so well. But it's so right on. It's like 100% the right person in tattoo. So there is that. I do give him
Well,
that. But
since you're old like me,
mm,
you might appreciate my cringe tattoo. I don't know if you can see that. Where's it at? But it's the crest from the ninjas in GI Joe.
yeah,
So Snake Eyes and
you're
Stormshadow.
right.
Yeah,
It is.
back back when I did it, I thought I was really cool. But in hindsight, it's pretty cringe.
Well, I'll be honest, that one's slightly cooler than a cartoon dog being like, I got that dog in me. Not funnier. But you know what it looks like now? It just looks like you have a barcode completely always ready to be scanned so that you can be checked out at any time.
When I got it with the red ink, it was bright pink from the healing. So I
Mm.
used to tell everybody that I accidentally leaned my arm on a barbecue grill. And for the longest time, people thought I was really serious. And then as it healed, I told people it was a broken Mario brick. So I guess, but then again, that's just as cringe or nerdy. So I
I
guess that
mean,
doesn't work
listen,
either.
all of these things would just be full of roasts. All of these things would just be me going on and being like, why do you exist, dude? But I will tell you, I still think that's better than what Bryce did. And you notice I haven't booed you yet, and I don't think that will happen. But I'll boo the shit out of that guy forever. So I feel good about that. Well, David, I appreciate you coming on the show. It has been a pleasure to get to know you better. You do incredible work, and I really do mean it when I do pull on guys whose work I very much appreciate as somebody who has made memes, know how difficult it can be to hit that grind all the time, but to have a good quality output. I think that you are doing an excellent job. So keep up the great work, man.
Well, thank you, Raph. I appreciate it because, man, sometimes I just like, damn, I gotta post something. And
Oh, you do not have to explain that to me. That's when I knew I was like, maybe I should stop doing them as much. Because when I would sit there and I was like, I better hit that algorithm. If I don't do it at the right time, then they won't like me. And then what happens is when the algorithm doesn't like me, people don't see this meme. And if they don't see this meme, then they don't get more exposure for this page. I was like, yo, I'm just gonna like my new methodology was just gonna be like, if I have something funny, I'll contribute it. But I'm not gonna kill myself doing it just because
yeah,
the meme needs it.
yeah, because the world will go on without my post. So,
It will, but it'll be a little less funny. So, David, I'm going to say bye to you off air. I'm just going to close this bitch up. Thank you very much, sir.
all right, thank you.
All right, you guys, that's going to do it for us here at Running the Gauntlet. Just so you guys know, if you want to like, comment, and subscribe, that's great. But if you need a topic to comment on, I need you to tell me what is the worst tattoo that you've seen? And I'll probably ask this again at some point, but what is the worst tattoo that you've seen in all of jiu-jitsu? You can describe it to me. I can't really see it, but tell it to us there, and a few other things. You can also catch us on patreon.com/grappling hour, $5 a month. You see my interviews 30 days before everybody else. And for a few extra dollars, you get to see extra bonus content, including Roast Raf, a place where people will roast my competition footage, tape studies with the athletes, including our good friends Cody Steele and Anthony Orozco, talking about their recent MMA performances, and much, much more, including a new segment called Road to ADCC that we will be debuting very, very soon. Additionally, you guys can also follow us on YouTube, on Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, X, whatever you call it. I don't give a shit. It's at Grappling Hour, all of them. Last couple of reminders. Just want to tell you guys, we are also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So check us out there and join our Discord. Ladies and gents, that's going to do it for us here at Running the Gauntlet. It has been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.